right in the conference room.
Good evening. I call this meeting to order at 7:31. It's the regular council meeting of May 14th, 2018. Could we begin with the roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
I'm here.
Councilman Corbett.
Here.
Councilman Gettings.
Here.
Councilor Grabstein. Here. Councilman Scott. Here. Councilman Soltis.
Here.
Mayor Harwell.
Yes, I'm here. Would you please rise if you're able for an invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? We're thankful for the opportunity to meet together here, and we ask most humbly for a blessing of our gathering. Brighten our eyes with greater understanding, enrich our hearts with compassion and courage, and again receive our gratitude for this opportunity of fellowship. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Your Honor,
Mr. Bliss?
I move that we add the retirement and transition agreement for City Manager Myers to the agenda under reports D3.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Soltis?
Second.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilman Soltis, to add an item to D3 of the agenda entitled the Retirement and Transition Agreement of the City Manager. Is there any discussion on adding this to the agenda? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Any other additions or deletions? Okay, we can go to presentations. We have one tonight. It's for National Public Works Week proclamation. Mr. Myers?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll gladly read the proclamation. Whereas the public works services provided in our community are an essential part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water distribution, sewer maintenance, stormwater management, streets and highways, public buildings, fleet maintenance, parks, recreation, and solid waste collection. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of our community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities and services, as well as their planning, design, and implementation, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of our Department of Public Services employees, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude toward and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Madison Heights does hereby proclaim the week of May 20th through the 27th of 2018 as National Public Works Week, and calls upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions that our public services employees make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. And our DPS Director, Joe Vitale, is here tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Vitale, would you please accept this proclamation?
Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you very much. We have two public hearings this evening. Item A1 is special approval 1801 regarding Gowling Kia at 800 East 14 Mile Road. Mr. Myers? you have a
Yes, Your
report?
Honor, I do. Special approval is required to allow a new car dealership and motor vehicle service facility in the M1 Light Industrial District. The applicant is proposing a new Kia dealership with motor vehicle service but no bump and paint. Should council approve this request, the site will be split from the existing Shannon Precision Fasteners facility and will be assigned a new parcel ID and address. Parking exceeds the minimum ordinance requirements for both the proposed Kia dealership as well as the remaining Shannon Precision Fasteners site. However, parking is not permitted in the 50-foot front yard setback in the M1 district. The existing parking lot is non-conforming, with spaces coming to within 5 feet of the front property line. The proposed plan shows parking coming to within 10 feet of the front property line, doubling the size of the front landscape greenbelt from what is existing. The applicant is aware of this requirement and has been informed that a Zoning Board of Appeals variance would be required to allow this parking lot design if City Council were to grant special approval. The landscape plan meets all ordinance requirements, and the proposed hours of operation are Monday and Thursday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and closed on Sunday. The Site Plan Review Committee has reviewed the plan, and all review comments have been addressed. Should council approve this request, the following conditions are recommended. A, ZBA approval of a variance to allow parking within the front yard setback. B, land division approval, which is administrative. C, a reciprocal cross-access easement agreement with Shannon Precision Fasteners for the proposed access drive between the two properties. And D, no bump and paint repair work permitted. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Before council takes any action, we will hold a public hearing on special approval 1801 for 800 East 14 Mile Road, Gowling, Kia. I'll open the public hearing. Would anyone like to address City Council on special approval 1801? No one is asked to be recognized, so the public hearing is closed. What's the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Corbett.
Sir, I move that the council grant special approval to the property at 800 East 14 Mile Road as recommended by the Site Plan Review Committee. In addition, the approval is contingent upon the approval is conditioned on 4 items. 1, ZBA approval of the variance to allow parking within the front setback. Number 2, land division approval, which is an administrative matter. Number 3, a reciprocal cross-access agreement with Shannon Precision Fasteners for the proposed access drive between the two properties. And number 4, no bump and paint repair work will be permitted on site.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Gettings?
second.
Thank you. A motion was made by Councilman Corbett, seconded by Councilman Gettings to grant special approval 1801 on the property at 800 East 14 Mile Road, as recommended by the Special Site Plan Review Committee pursuant to the 4 conditions. Is there any discussion by City Council? Let's vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. We have another public hearing scheduled for tonight. It's item A2 on the agenda. It's the fiscal year 2019 budget resolution and tax levy. Mr. Myers.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The fiscal year 2019 budget workshop was held on April 30th, 2018. This public hearing is scheduled to receive public comments on the proposed budget, to appropriate funds, to establish the tax levy for the budget appropriations, and to approve changes to department fees. Pursuant to Section 8.4 of the City Charter, a resolution has been drafted which, if approved, will adopt the fiscal year 2019 budget, appropriate the funds, levy the property tax, and approve several fee adjustments. Following the public hearing, staff and I recommend that Council approve the fiscal year 2019 budget resolution.
Thank you. Before there's council action, we'll open a public hearing. All right, the public hearing is open. Does anyone want to speak to City Council about the fiscal year 2019 budget resolution and tax levy? The public hearing is open for this item. Yes, welcome. This is the public hearing for the fiscal year 2019 budget resolution and tax levy. Welcome.
Thank you. I think you want my name.
It would be helpful, but not required. Thank you.
Patricia Shields, and I live at 29328 Spoon, Madison Heights. Just kind of going over, it does say that there is going to be a public hearing on the budget. And in reviewing some of the information that I had, according to our mayor, that we are financially in a AAA stabling condition. We have very little debt and a moderate increase in revenue from rising property. Another article that was noted, that in order to fund the additional staff, that there were, let's see, funding for the new staff members was to be scheduled. Anyhow, however it was, you decided not to have 95-gallon trash cans in order to support the financial increase of the new police department and so on and so forth. Looking back into our property assessment, back in 2016, our assessed value for Lanphier schools were $58,7824. In 2017, our millage rate was 60.7272. We have had a steady increase since 2013 on property tax, which should have given our city much more revenue. Just taking my property, two of my neighbors, and my daughter who recently moved into Madison Heights, and looking back on the increase, each year there has been an increase in revenue just from those four properties. And in 2016-17, there was an increase of $3,500 just on four properties. My question is, if that is the case, why then must we have a 2% increase in our millage rate? Along with that, we are being charged an increase in our water rate from $3.04 to $3.14, increase in sewer rates from $3.44 to $3.55, and an increase in recycling bins, which to me is not one way or the other. With all that being said, my question is, again, why do we have a 2% increase in millage rate if we have additional revenue coming in from property taxes because they've gone up, and the values of the homes have added, so therefore you are getting more revenue? Please explain it to me.
Your Honor, one quick answer, ma'am. With regard to the millage rates, all of the millages, with the exception of the police and fire pension and retiree benefits millage, are adjusted downward, which is an impact of Proposal A in the Headley Amendment. So even though our taxable value went up 3.2%, we are capped to the state inflation rate of 2.1. But because of that one police and fire millage increase, that has had an overall effect on the overall city millage, just on the city rate.
So
And
the additional income from property tax values going up is not sufficient enough to control the budget?
Your Honor, ma'am, I think we are doing a very good job of controlling the budget.
I'm sorry.
I think we are doing a very good job. The council is doing an excellent job in controlling the budget. But there are costs that we have as a city, and one of the biggest is with police and fire pension and retiree health care, and that millage is adjusted to match what we need for the year, and that's a big impact on why the city needs additional revenue.
Because of health
Yes.
cost budget?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I haven't been really active, but I will be from now on. Thank you.
Thank you. The public hearing is still open for the fiscal year 2019 budget resolution and tax levy. Would anyone else like to address City Council on this item? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. What's the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
move that the council adopt the proposed 2009 budget and the accompanying recommended tax levy.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Your Honor,
Mr. Bliss?
I second the 2019 budget resolution.
And tax levy. Okay, the motion was made by Councilman Corbett, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, to adopt the fiscal year 2019 budget resolution and tax levy. Is there any discussion from City Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I had a little time lapse, I've been told. I guess I meant the 2019 resolution, not 2009. I wish, but no.
The
So correct-
2019 budget resolution
Yes,
and
sir.
tax levy. That's what you understood, Mr. Corbett?
That's what I intended, know whether it came out that way.
And Mr. Bliss?
Yeah.
Thank you. A discussion from City Council on this item? All right, hearing none, let's vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries, just like the last one. Okay, this is the opportunity in the meeting where the meeting is open to the public. This is the public's opportunity to address any subject. It's a one-way conversation from the public to City Council. It'd be helpful if you could give your name and address and affiliation, although that's not required. So welcome. Please come now. Meeting is open to the public.
Hello, Gloria Moore. Friends of the Madison Heights Area Senior Citizens is having another third Tuesday meeting, and that's tomorrow, believe it or not. And this third Tuesday happens to be right after the second Monday. And anyway, we're going to be having snacks and beverages as usual. It's over at Wilkinson at 7 p.m. I also dropped off on your desk for June's third Tuesday's meeting. Gives you time to color it in. Same time, same place. Also on the community barbecue, that's Donna's Christmas Land and Friends of the Madison Heights Area Senior Citizens had partnered in. Friends of the Senior Citizens, Friends of the Madison Heights Area Senior Citizens is pulling out due to differences. We'll be doing other activities this summer. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. The meeting is still open to the public. All right, no one else is asked to be recognized. We'll continue. The agenda, we have communications. There are 4 this evening. The first is item C1 from Mr. Flanagan. It's his resignation from the Arts and Culture Board. Mr. Myers, do you have a report on this?
Your Honor, I'll just give general comments on all 4
Okay,
resignations.
thank
We
you.
have four members of the Arts and Cultural Advisory Board: Aaron Flanagan, Doug Evans, Judy Lewis, and Tracy Cash. They've all submitted their resignations from the board, and staff and I recommend that council accept these resignations and declare their respective seats vacant.
Thank you. We'll take motions one at a time. Could I please have a motion from council regarding Mr. Flanagan?
Your Honor, you want them one at a time?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move that we accept the resignation of Aaron Flanagan from the Arts and Culture Advisory Board, issue him a appropriate proclamation for his service, and declare the seat vacant.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
a second.
Thank you, Councilor Grafstein. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilor Grafstein, to accept the resignation of Mr. Flanagan, declare the seat vacant, and issue a proclamation of thanks. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Could I have a motion regarding Mr. Evans' resignation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
I move that we accept Doug Evans' resignation from the Arts and Culture Advisory Board, declare the seat vacant, and issue the appropriate recognition.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Grafstein?
I second.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilor Grafstein, to accept the resignation of Doug Evans from the Arts and Culture Board, declare the seat vacant, and issue the appropriate thanks. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
All right. I'll recognize 6-1. The motion carries. Can I have a motion regarding Mrs. Lewis?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we accept the resignation of Judy Lewis from the Arts and Culture Advisory Board, declare the seat vacant, and issue the letter of thanks.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Grafstein?
I second.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilor Grafstein, to accept the resignation of Judy Lewis from the Arts and Culture Board, declare the seat vacant, and issue the appropriate thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say no.
No.
I got to do a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Grafstein.
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
No.
Councilman Soltis.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
Yes.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes?
Councilman Gettings.
No.
And Mayor Hartwell.
Yes, the motion carries. May I please have a motion regarding Ms. Cash?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we accept the resignation from the Arts and Culture Advisory Board from Tracy Cash, declare the seat vacant, and issue the appropriate letter of thanks.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
I second.
Thank you. Motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
Your Honor,
Oh, I'm sorry.
make comments on this?
Okay, we'll open up the motion for discussion. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just wanted to, I guess, take a moment to discuss where these are coming from and what kind of led to this, at this point in the discussion here. Aaron Flanagan's resignation was based simply because he moved. The other three were tied to the wishes of the board and our chairperson, Lori Gerald's. And the board felt very strongly, because of how active that the board is, that every member of that board be held to high enough standards for participation and the ability to get to meetings. And after conversations with our chairperson, each of these members felt that now was not the right time to serve in this capacity for their ability to participate in the board. It doesn't preclude them from ever joining again, but it was their wishes as a part of their resignation to step away from the board at this time because their schedules did not enable them to be as active as they or the board would like.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? All right, let's vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed, say no.
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 All right, the motion carries. We can continue to reports. We have 3 tonight, if you include the one we added. So let's begin with item D1, a report from the DPS Director regarding the 2018 Summer Maintenance Agreement with the Road Commission for Oakland County. Mr. Myers, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Provided for council's consideration is the 2018 Summer Maintenance Agreement from the Road Commission for Oakland County, covering 14 Mile, 12 Mile, and John R. from 14 Mile to the Red Run Drain. Under this contract, the city provides street sweeping, weed and grass mowing, and litter pickup along these county roads. Although no increase in the payment to the city was included this year, the city did receive a 24.2% increase in 2017, and that was directly attributable to the summer sweeping rate increasing from $99 to $155 per curb mile. The 2018 rate does reflect the current bid prices solicited by the Road Commission. Staff and I recommend that council approve the contract and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Thank you. What's the wish of City Council?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the contract for the 2018 Summer Maintenance Agreement with the Road Commission for Oakland County and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Gaddings?
second the motion.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilman Gettings, to approve the 2018 Summer Maintenance Agreement with the Road Commission for Oakland County and to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city. Is there discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Next on the agenda, item D2 is a report from the police chief. It's the 2018 Medical Marijuana Operation and Oversight Grant Subrecipient Agreement. Mr. Myers?
Yes, sir. The city currently has one officer assigned to the Oakland County Narcotics Enforcement Team. Oakland County has received a grant for reimbursement of overtime for officers who participate in medical marijuana investigations. The county will reimburse the city up to $5,750 for qualifying narcotics enforcement team-related overtime as described in the grant agreement. The police department has been part of this grant for the last 4 years and has received overtime reimbursement each year. Oakland County requires approval of the grant agreement through the adoption of the proposed resolution, which approves the agreement and authorizes the city manager to sign on behalf of the city. Staff, the city attorney's office, and I recommend the council approve the resolution.
Okay. What's the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that the council agree with the recommendation of staff in the attorney's office and approve the resolution relating to reimbursement 2018 medical marijuana operation and oversight grant.
Thank you. Is there support?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Grafstein?
I support.
Thank you. Councilman Corbett made a motion, which was seconded by Councilor Grafstein, to agree with the recommendation of staff and the police chief and to approve the 2018 medical marijuana operation and oversight grant sub-recipient agreement. Any discussion on this matter?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may, can I
Yes.
ask the chief a question? I just want those at home who are here thinking that we're going after medical marijuana patients, right? I mean, this is, I know that's what it says in the title, but we're going after those who are doing it illegally.
Yes, Your Honor. What this is for is for the oversight of medical marijuana facilities and or distributors and or growers. Anybody that falls under the MMA, the Medical Marijuana Act, this is for strictly for enforcement of those that are not following the Medical Marijuana Act. And it's reimbursement for overtime that our net officer will spend doing those investigations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, let's vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. The next report is item D3. It's an item that was added to the agenda. It's the retirement and transition agreement of the city manager. Could I please have a motion?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the retirement and transition agreement for City Manager Myers and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign that agreement.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Soltis?
second, please.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilman Soltis, to approve the retirement and transition agreement for City Manager Myers and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Myers?
Yes, Your Honor. This is my first public comment tonight regarding my retirement. We have a full agenda, so I'm going to keep this very brief. First, I want to thank City Council for approving this agreement. I also want to make it clear to everyone how much I love the city and have enjoyed and will continue to enjoy all of my affiliations and friendships that have developed over the years, both in the workforce and in the community. So more to come for me in terms of comments, but that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Any other discussion on this item? All right, let's vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. We can go ahead to item F1 under bid awards and purchases. The first purchase is for the code enforcement contractual weed mowing and debris removal. Mr. Myers?
Yes, Your Honor. On April 12th, the bid for code enforcement mowing and debris removal was posted at City Hall and on our Mitten cooperative bidding system. Of the 4 bids received, the lowest qualified bidder was Promo Landscaping, with unit prices at $15 per single lot and $20 per double lot, and $17 per quarter hour for large lot mowing and or debris removal. Staff checked the references. They all came back satisfactory. While Promo has not had experience with municipal code enforcement mowing or debris removal, the company has maintained vacant properties and cleared debris for Dream Place LLC, which has properties in East Point and other locations. Staff and I recommend that council award the bid to Promo Landscaping for a 1-year contract at the previously mentioned unit rates, with the option to extend on a year-to-year basis thereafter upon written agreement of the parties. We would also respectfully request the council authorize us to proceed to the next lowest bidders in the event that the contract with Promo Landscaping is canceled due to non-performance or other issues. And finally, I would note that funds are budgeted and available for the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. What's the wish of City Council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we award the code enforcement, weed mowing, and debris removal to the lowest qualified bidder, Promo Landscaping, in the amount of $15,000. Also, I'd like to have my motion authorize the city to proceed to the next lowest bidder should the contract with Promo be canceled due to non-performance or other issues.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Corbett.
Second.
Any discussion on this item?
Just one item, Your Honor.
Yes,
if I could.
please.
If I could get Mr. Schaefer, he looks way too comfortable back there. Just a brief primer for the public and council again. Reimbursement terms. When code enforcement, for example, has to be used. It may be $20 or $15, but the city does seek compensation. If you could just briefly discuss that.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a contract for code enforcement mowing only. So when people receive a written notice that they haven't maintained their lawn or their parcel by not mowing the grass, they will be given an opportunity to do so. If they don't, it's typically 3 days. We then re-inspect if it's still in non-compliance. This is the contractor who would go out and mow it. 100% of the cost of this is assessed to the property owner, and there is a $100 administrative fee that covers the administration and the inspections necessary to do it. So the property owner, each time they cut, will be receiving 100% of the cost of this contract plus a $100 administrative and inspection fee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, there was one additional recommendation from staff to include an option to extend on a year-to-year basis upon written agreement of the parties.
Your Honor, I think my motion included that, but if it wasn't completely clear, I'd be happy to amend it.
Okay, so it's hereby included. Mr. Corbett?
Yes, fine.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion on this item?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
If I may, can I ask a follow-up question? Because I'm concerned about what do we have in place for people that are disabled or seniors that aren't able to keep up with, the lawn care and so forth?
Mr. Mayor, we have a ongoing CDBG lawn mowing program that is available. As of this morning, there were still 2 slots left. That is an income or disabled program. So you have to meet CDBG HUD income guidelines or be disabled. And that program, we do serve 75 clients this summer. And as of this morning, there were still 2 spots left.
So as long as they're eligible financial or income-wise, then they can stay on it?
They reapply every year because incomes change and HUD changes the income limits every year.
But there's not a term limit, so to speak, as long as they qualify with the income.
Mr. Mayor, that is correct. Although our budget and the fluctuations in the costs of the program do change the number of participants. This year, we're serving 10 more clients than we were able to last year.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Thank you. Let's vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. The next bid award or purchase is from the DBS Director. It's for the Water System Cross-Connection Control Program Services. Mr. Meyer.
Your Honor, in order to maintain compliance with requirements set forth by the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, or MDEQ, the city has utilized the services of HydroCorp, which is formerly Hydro Designs, since 2004 to provide for a cross-connection control program covering all commercial and industrial water customers served by the public water supply. Cross-connection control involves identifying points in the water distribution system where a commercial process, meaning like industrial or manufacturing, car washes, that sort of thing, or other non-potable water could backfeed into the domestic water supply, ensuring that an approved backflow prevention device is properly provided at these points to prevent such an occurrence, and that the device is functioning properly. The services provided by HydroCorp include preparation of a formal program, which was approved by the MDEQ, initial inspections of commercial and industrial sites, determining a reinspection frequency based on the potential hazard presented by a site, and performing re-inspections according to the schedule. In the current budget, was fiscal 2018, funding has been approved to increase the level of our program and, by association, the number of annual inspections. While the program has been successful since its implementation, the majority of funding is now being taken up by re-inspections, prompting the increase in funding for more initial inspections. As a result, staff prepared a request for proposals, which was written to maintain and increase the level of service provided for in the current contract, with a total number of inspections dependent on a not-to-exceed amount to be provided by the city and, of course, based on available funding. A total of 23 vendors viewed the proposal. However, only one proposal was received by the deadline. The sole qualified respondent was our current vendor HydroCorp, in the amount of $125 per inspection. Staff and I have been extremely pleased with HydroCorp's past and present performance in administering our cross-connection control program, and we therefore recommend that Council award the contract for increased cross-connection control services to HydroCorp of Troy, Michigan, at the unit price of $125 per inspection, for a total program amount not to exceed $25,000, and funding is budgeted and available for this contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. What's the wish of City Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
I move for council to award the contract for increased cross-connection control services to Hydro Corporation of Troy, Michigan at the unit price of $125 per inspection, for a total program amount not to exceed $25,000.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I support.
Thank you. A motion was made by Councilwoman Scott, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, to award the contract for increased cross-connection control services to HydroCorp of Troy, Michigan, at a unit price of $125 per inspection, for a total program amount not to exceed $25,000. Is there any discussion? Let's vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. We can continue to adopting the minutes. Can I have a motion regarding the regular minutes from 4:23?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Corbett.
I move that we approve the minutes as printed from the regular meeting of 4/23/18.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Scott?
second.
Thank you. A motion was made by Councilman Corbett, seconded by Councilwoman Scott, to adopt as printed the minutes from the regular council meeting of 4/23/18. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. May I please have a motion regarding the special meeting minutes?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we adopt the minutes of the special council meeting of 4/30/18 as printed.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I support this.
Very good. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilman Corbett, to adopt as printed the special city council meeting minutes from 4/30/18. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. We'll continue to appointments to our boards and commissions. There are several mayor's appointments. So if council will work with me, we'll start from the top. Would someone bring to the floor the mayor's appointment of Joseph Jarbo to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority and the Downtown Development Authority? It would be for a 4-year term expiring June 2022. Right?
Mr. Mayor?
Wait a minute. Oop. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for you.
June 19th.
Okay, 2022. Okay, I'm sorry, thank you.
I would move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Mr. Yarbo to a term which will expire on June 19th, 2022.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Gettings.
second the motion.
Thank you, sir. Motion was made by Councilman Corbett, seconded by Councilman Gettings, to confirm the mayor's appointment of Joseph Jarbo to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority and the Downtown Development Authority. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Would someone please make a motion to confirm my appointment of Michael Van Buren to fill a 4-year term on the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority and the Downtown Development Authority for a term expiring June 19th, 2022.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
I would like to make a motion for Mike Van Buren to be appointed to the Brownfield Redevelopment for a term of 4 years, expiring June 2022.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Soltis. Thank you. Any discussion on appointing Mike Van Buren to the Brownfield and the DDA for a 4-year term to expire June 19, 2022? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. There's more mayor's appointments. There's been some applications piling up for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. So first, I'd like to, there's a person currently serving as an alternate, right?
No, their term expires.
Okay, never mind. So would council please accept my appointment of Emily Rohrbach to a full seat on the Parks and Recreation Board, a term to expire April 15th, 2020. It's Emily Rohrbach, Parks and Rec, April 15th, 2020.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd be more than happy to move that council confirm the mayor's appointment of Ms. Rohrbach to a term which will expire 4/15/20, a full term on the
Yes,
committee.
thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Soltis? Any discussion, no, that's fine. Any discussion on accepting the mayor's appointment of Emily Rohrbach to a full seat on the Parks and Rec Board for a term to expire April 15th, 2020? Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. There's another applicant to the Parks and Rec Board. His name is Joshua Schroeder. So I'd ask council to confirm my appointment of Joshua Schroeder to the Parks and Rec Board for a term to expire at the same time, April 15th, 2020.
Mr. Mayor?
A full seat, please. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to appoint Mr., what's his last?
Schroeder.
Schroeder to a full term on the board's Parks and Recreation Board. Is he an alternate at the moment? No? Okay.
I don't believe
To
so.
a full term which will expire on 4/15/2020.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Gaddings?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on accepting the mayor's appointment of Joshua Schroeder to a 2-year term on the Parks and Recreation Board for a term expiring April 15th, 2020? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. And there is an alternate seat I would ask council to fill tonight. And there's an applicant named Jenna Uhase. So I'm asking council to accept my nomination of Jenna Uhase to the alternate seat on the Parks and Recreation Board expiring 4/15/2020.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I move that the council confirm the mayor's appointment of Jenna Uhase, if I did that right, or anything.
Uhase.
remotely. Uhase. To a term which will expire on 4/15/20, a full term.
Thank you. Is there a second? Alternate seat.
Oh, alternate, yes, I'm sorry, alternate.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I support.
Any discussion on appointing Jenna Uhase to the alternate seat on the Parks and Recreation Board for a term expiring April 15, 2020? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Does council have any nominations tonight to any other board or commission?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we appoint Lauren Gadua, who's currently the first alternate of the Arts and Culture Board, to the now vacant seat expiring at 9/25/19. And declare her alternate seat vacant.
Ooh, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Second? Okay, thank you. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bliss, seconded by Councilman Corbett, to appoint Lauren Gadua to a full seat on which board?
Arts and Culture.
The Arts and Culture Board, and declare her alternate seat vacant. Her new term will expire
9/25/19.
9/25/19. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Not yet, I'm sorry. Any other nominations tonight?
Your Honor,
Yes, please.
I move that we appoint Vita Palazzolo, who's currently the second alternate on the Arts Board, to a full term, which would expire 9/25/20, and declare that seat vacant, or declare the alternate seat vacant.
Would you repeat the name one more time?
Vita Palazzolo.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Gettings?
second.
Thank you. Any discussion on appointing Vita Palazzolo to a full seat on the Arts and Culture Advisory Board to expire September 25th, 2020, and to declare her alternate seat now vacant? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Are there other nominations? Okay. Hearing no other further nominations, before we adjourn, I'd invite any closing comments from members of City Council and staff. Let's begin with Mr. Corbett.
Just a couple of quick items this evening, sir. Just a reminder that I do keep office hours at the library on Fridays from 1 to 3. If anybody'd like to stop in and discuss a city issue or problem with the city, I'd be more than happy to talk. If you'd like to talk at a different time or with a different member of council, just call the manager's office, and I'm sure they'll hook you up with the appropriate person, and I'm sure all members of council would be more than happy to meet with folks. Just an observation that the spring cleanup and then the additional free chipping effort after that one storm appears to have been a pretty big hit. Both social media well received it, and I got a couple of calls that they appreciated that. You got something, Mr. Myers?
No, just, Your Honor, just to add to that, despite the bad weather, I understand, Joe, that we had 200 vehicles for cleanup day.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good, so congratulations. It was very much appreciated by the residents. Thank you very much to Mr. Myers. I'm sure at the appropriate time we'll have a chance to recognize your efforts, but for this evening, I think we'll just leave it at a thank you.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
all, sir.
Mr. Bliss.
Yes, Your Honor. I had mentioned earlier, the Arts Board has been very active. Tonight is the final deadline for submissions for our photo contest. We've had, I think, closing in on now 100 submissions. It's been a really active, really active contest. But you have until 11:59 tonight to submit. The photo has to have been taken within the city of Madison Heights, and you have to be a resident here. Those are the two requirements. Age is not a requirement. We've had a lot of students submit photos. It's actually been really cool to see the photo submissions from the students come through. They've been really, really good. And just to emphasize, there are cash prizes for the top 3 winners. And there are a lot of different categories. In fact, one of the categories is public safety, and we are sitting across from police and fire departments right now. So if you're sitting in this room and you haven't submitted yet, please feel free to have your last-minute entry, take a photo when you're leaving here today, and submit that in to the contest. It'll be great fun. We'll have a big awards ceremony for the winners, and then we're also going to do a pop-up art display at the festival in the park for the fireworks. So in the JC building, kind of right at the foot of the hill, we're going to turn that into an art gallery with all of the photo submissions. So if you're here for the festival, please come and check that out. They've been really, really great so far. I can't wait to see what kind of the final push from today looked like. But definitely, if you're hearing this, if you're watching it at home, if you're sitting here at City Hall tonight, you have little less than 4 hours to submit, so make sure that you do if you're interested. That's it, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Gettings?
I'll save my comments for a future meeting, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. City Attorney, Mr. Sherman?
I have nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, City Manager, Mr. Myers?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. City Clerk, Ms. Prince?
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Grafstein?
Last month, I attended a rally in Royal Oak that was organized by the students, and it was for gun safety. And then last week, Wilkinson Middle School hosted an assembly promoting the OK to Say app, and that basically allows students, teachers, parents, really anyone to report potentially harmful situations. Our state representative, Jim Ellison, was at both those events, and last week he and I were talking with Sheriff Bouchard, who was there, and we also had our Attorney General, the Attorney General from Florida, Mayor Hartwell was there, and amongst all of this, I was approached by, it's a group there, I believe it's called Moms Demand Action, but basically they are asking several cities in the area, they would like to have a proclamation declaring June 2nd to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And for those who would like to participate, just to wear orange in support. And I'm wondering, Mr. Mayor, if that's something that staff can look into making that proclamation.
Thank you. I believe we have one drafted that could be put on the next agenda.
For May 29th? Perfect, thank you.
Sounds good. May 29th.
Okay, that is wonderful, thank you. And I just also want to update everyone, this morning we had our second environmental meeting, and we're looking at options for the larger garbage toters and the recycling toters, as well as opportunities to educate residents on what can and cannot be recycled. And we're still waiting to hear who won the recycle off. For those of you who are waiting to see if it was us or Royal Oak, we should have that information hopefully at the next meeting. We should know by the end of the month. And I want to give a shout out to DPS. A lot of people have been complaining that my garbage is late. Why is it late? And DPS did a great job just addressing that. Basically, everyone has done spring cleaning a little bit later than they had before because of the change in weather. And between that and just the highway being closed, 696 is wreaking havoc for everyone. It's just added up to a lot of extra hours. No one's happy about it. The guys who are on the trucks aren't happy about it, but I do appreciate that DPS took the time to let everybody know, and they're working on resolving it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
I would like to all the mothers on belated day, I would like to wish them a happy Mother's Day continuously for the rest of their lives. I know that there are many sincere and caring mothers out there, and I bless them all. And I would also like to retain comments at this point for a future meeting.
Okay, Mr. Soltis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, so for the 5th year, we're going to Lansing on Wednesday, this coming up Wednesday. This coming up Wednesday, the 16th. And it's free, so please, there's plenty of room. We got a small bus, we got a big bus, whatever it takes. I want everyone to feel welcome. I want to personally invite friends of Madison area senior citizens. I mean, please, if you want to come with us, that would be great. We still got plenty of room. It's all free. There's a lunch is free. The trip is free. We're right on the front lawn. If you're not familiar with it, the entire state with older Americans or older Michiganian come out, and it's like a lobbying day for legislators. They come out and meet the groups, and then we do our little tour of the Capitol. So if you haven't been to the Capitol, it's magnificent inside. The architecture, the paintings, is just wonderful. And we go up on the House Gallery. Hopefully they'll announce us. They've done it, I think, pretty much every year. So please just give me a call or go to the Senior Center Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. My number is 248-219-6381. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank staff for preparing tonight's agenda. I also wanted to thank Councilman Soltis and our police chief for interacting with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to explore ideas where city government can find ways to understand our residents who are dealing with mental health issues, especially U.S. Veterans who have mental health issues, and just how law enforcement interacts with our residents, how code enforcement would interact with our residents, and of course, even members of council and city hall employees. So I just want to tip of the hat to you, and I encourage the continuation of that dialogue. There's no other business for city council tonight, so the meeting is adjourned.